During the early 1890s to the late 1910s, progressivism became a major goal of many citizens in America. Progressivism is the idea of trying to correct injustices in American life, restore all economic opportunities, and to return control of the government to the people. In 1890, there had been an increase in poverty and starvation due to big corporations and corrupt political machines had won control of city and state government. In 1887, journalist Nellie Bly inspected the conditions of asylum to see how the government would help these people, but only found horrible conditions as she wanted to correct the corrupt way of government. Nellie Bly was a major contributor for the progressivism. To propel the goal of progressivism, muckrackers, people who demanded reform for corruption in American society, tried to make it illegal for corporations to gain control of industries by forming trusts. The muckrackers eventually got the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 to do just that. But because no one would enforce it, corporations still formed trusts to have control of the industries. This is where Roosevelt came in on progressivism. Roosevelt was Vice President of the United States. That is, until the president was assassinated in 1901. He then went to take up office, and he became the youngest president in the history of the United States. Anyway, when Roosevelt was president, he took action to make the idea of progressivism more of a goal of the government. Since no one before enforced the Sherman Antitrust Act, Roosevelt decided to start enforcing it. He ended up breaking many trusts between railroad companies and other forms of businesses. Another thing Roosevelt did was form trusts between railroad companies and other forms of businesses. Another thing he was to reform dangerous foods and medicines. One also signed the Meat Inspection Act, which created a government meat inspection program. The other thing he did was to ban the sale of impure foods and medicines by passing the Pure Food and Drug Act. Wilderness and natural resources were shrinking, so Roosevelt also decided to conserve more land. He did that by doubling the amount of national parks. He wanted to add more national parks, such as the Grand Canyon, but Congress refused to add any more. So instead of national parks, he started adding more national monuments, thus ending the progressivism era in 1920.